So, got back from the Memphis Refining Reason debate with Matt Dillahunty and Seth Bruggencate. I don't honestly know if you could have actually called that a real debate. I don't know. What do you think? That didn't feel like a debate to me. No,
it just felt like a bunch of bitch slapping going around.
At least, especially on Seth's side.
Yeah, well, as far as you've told me, he's kind of just like that all the time anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a presuppositionalist, so his thing is, I'm going to start at the conclusion and then make all of my data fit that conclusion. That's flawed logic. That if you do that in science, if you do that in a research paper, they're going to kick you out.
Yeah, but God did it.
And you see, that's exactly what it is. He's like, no, the Bible tells me that everybody believes that there is a God. Therefore, everybody believes in a God. And no matter what you tell me, I'm not going to believe you, but I'm going to make up conclusions. I'm going to twist things around. I'm going to twist your words around so it makes it sound like you actually do believe. The thing that annoyed me, and Ken Ham did this too, in his recent debate with Bill Nye, he took video clips and used that to more or less support his argument. The only thing that Seth did, though, is he quote mined the hell out of Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Matt made the jokes himself, but basically his entire opening argument included a bunch of clips from Matt's show. So
Yeah. I mean,
for me, I gotta give props for being like dead set on his ideal.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really break from it, and he never made any mistakes that I could tell in his argument.
And yeah, I mean, like there's fallacies that he fell into. He set up a straw man against Matt. I mean, that's what he was doing with the video clips. He was making a straw man Matt and then attacking that instead of actually really going after Matt himself.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he was saying, oh, Matt Dillahunty said this, therefore it must be true. Well, if he was saying it in a joke, you didn't exactly show that.
I thought if it was a straw man, you had to say basically that straw Matt said something that he didn't actually say.
Well, that's what he was doing.
But he actually did say those things.
He did
because
say
he pulled up those clips.
Right.
He actually said those.
He did say those things, but it's the same thing of what people do when they say, oh, Darwin didn't know how the eye evolved, therefore eyes didn't evolve. But what they've done is they've quote mined and set up a straw man at the same time. They've gone to the origin of species, pulled out the quote where Darwin does indeed say, how could the eye have evolved? But then in the next paragraph, he explains how the eye evolved. What about the Q&A session, though? That was interesting.
Well, I think that was more the highlight of Seth's assholery. Because he was basically, like, turning down, at least the beginning, till everybody knew that he wasn't going to answer anything quoted from the Bible.
Yeah. That was interesting. The question that I actually asked was from one of the fourth listeners on the website who was unable to attend the debate. They were basically asking, in the Bible, in chapter 2 of Genesis, God tells Adam and Eve, do not eat of the fruit of the tree of good and evil, or knowledge, depending upon who you ask. Yet the serpent, who is not identified as Satan, by the way, tells Adam and Eve in particular, to begin with, that actually God is lying when he said that you shall surely die if you eat of this tree. and tells them that actually you'll become like God and gain knowledge. Well, sure enough, Adam and Eve ate the fruit, which is not identified as an apple. Go away, cat. And they don't die. At least not immediately. I mean, Adam lived to be something like 900 years old, if I'm remembering correctly. So, God lied.
Well, he did answer that one, at least.
He said they died spiritually.
Yeah, that was his answer. Is they died that day.
Sorry, if you ask me, that was a cop-out answer. It really was.
Well, I mean, it fits with his story, so
Yeah,
I can't say it's a cop-out answer, so.
There were other questions that people asked that related to biblical stuff. The gentleman who was trying to ask about poppy seeds, I actually talked to him later that night, and basically what he was trying to say is at the time that the phrasing, the mustard seed is the smallest seed, he was basically saying that even at that time, they knew that the mustard seed was not the smallest seed because poppy was actually grown and cultivated in that region. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever seen a mustard seed, but a mustard seed would fit between my fingers here. Poppy seeds are like, minuscule, really freaking tiny. So the Bible got it wrong. And that's what this gentleman was trying to identify to Cy when he said, I'm not going to debate scripture with you. I don't talk about scripture with professed atheists, is what he said. But that's what he was going on about.
Right. Well, there were a couple of theists there as well.
Yeah.
Bible questions. And I don't remember if he actually said that same quote to them as well.
I think he just assumed that everybody there was an atheist.
There was like at least 3 people that went up to ask questions that were theists.
Mm-hmm.
And they seemed to be pretty open-minded theists.
Still.
There was that one guy that we met before the actual dinner, come in talking about beer or something like that. He was the guy wearing the baseball cap and the white striped shirt.
I don't remember.
It doesn't matter.
I saw so many people. There's some people I remember. Dude with the cat shirt, I remember you. Pixie Kitty, I remember you. Happy Go Lucky, hugs and such. Obviously, I remember the big names, David Smalley, Seth Andrews, Matt Dillahunty, Cy. I actually met Eric Hovind as well, who was very cordial. Thank you for that. There's the other cat. I mean, personality-wise, Cy on stage was...
Just stay still.
Well, Cy was Cy on stage. That's about all I can say about that one. Off stage, though, he was actually cordial. He was pretty friendly.
They are all friendly.
Yeah.
I guess, you start going against their ideals and then they get testy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, off stage, in particular with Cy, I didn't want to talk about religion with him. I talked about him with him about other things. He actually asked if he minds speaking some Dutch, and he just went right into it, which I find other languages amazing, and we had a small discussion about Dutch and German languages, and I mean, that was interesting. He was actually interested in that. Granted, he was breaking down his laptop and getting everything together and all that, but still.
There was a little bit of unruliness in the crowd.
Yeah.
That's okay. They worked around it. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, the woman who yelled out Jesus would, and when you watch the debate and watch the Q&A, you'll hear her. I actually met up with her at the bar later. And she apologized, actually, that she had yelled out like that. It's just that she was infuriated because according to The Bible, you're supposed to be able to answer anyone who has a question. And that's from Jesus. You're supposed to answer the people. And I'm sorry, but you weren't. You weren't answering people. It doesn't matter if they're atheist, doesn't matter if they're Buddhist, doesn't matter if they're Hindu, Jainist, whatever. You're supposed to answer them according to the doctrine that Christians follow. So that in and of itself was frustrating.
I was particularly addressing the crowd pretty often because a lot of the crowd was laughing at his statements and berating us for laughing, and basically his thoughts was that we're just going to walk out of there thinking what we thought when we walked in to begin with, which in reality he didn't really bring any new arguments to debate.
Not during the debate. During the after show, or I guess after show, the live cast with Dogma debate, you didn't hear this. This blew my mind. Somebody asked him about God, and I'm not entirely certain how the subject came up, but I mean, you can go listen to the Dogma debate later. Cy actually stated God is not all-loving. So that kind of blew my mind a little bit, because pretty much all the Christians that I've talked to and the people that I've seen who are major, out there debaters are all, God is all-loving, all-knowing, and all-powerful. That particular God I reject on the premise that it contradicts itself. It cannot exist, given the way that the world is. But Cy's deity that he's proposing is not all-loving. And therefore, I hate to admit it, but I am going to admit it, does have some degree of plausibility. Is it demonstrated? No. And therefore, I'm agnostic about Cy's deity, but still.
The other comment that Cy made that was kind of shocking to me, because I've never heard like a big name Christian just out and out say they want a theocracy.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Like, somebody asked him the question if he believed that democracy was the best policy. And he said, no, I think there should be a theocracy. I don't remember quite what the crowd's reaction was, but my reaction was, okay, you'll never get that to work.
Well, look at Israel. Not Israel. Muslim countries. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to comprehend that anybody would want to go to a theocracy when we can look back, and even nowadays, at countries that are theocracies and say, no, this is not a good governmental system whatsoever. I mean, this violates so many human rights issues.
Well, they have different views on human rights anyway.
Yeah. Now, what about Matt, though?
Matt. As Matt goes, like, where I could follow him and understand him, he talked fast because he wanted to fit a lot of information into his allotted time.
Yeah, he actually said before the debate, when I met him up in setup and everything, that the 10-minute thing, he's like, wow, that's actually a short time, but if I talk fast, I can do this. So, yeah, he was talking fast deliberately because of the preparedness that he had.
I knew he was talking fast because of that. It's just that it's hard to follow things that are that deep in thought when you're going that fast.
Yeah. Which is why it's recorded, and we'll be able to watch it later. Thank you, Seth. So what about the people you met?
People I met. I only met a few people, really.
What'd you think of them?
Nice people. I kept to myself. I'm an introvert, so
Yeah.
it's not really my prerogative to go out and meet people. I enjoyed the show and experiencing something new. It's just I didn't really meet that many people. I talked with Seth at breakfast.
Yeah, Seth is a nice guy. We met Daryl Ray at dinner.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, he sat across from us at the dinner. He invited us to their big party thing.
Yeah. Forsyth Area Critical Thinkers. You gave me a card, but I don't remember when or where. Met Daryl Ray.
Sarah? Is that her name? The one that created the whole event.
Yeah, Sarah. Sarah's awesome.
Or put together the event.
Yeah. Met David Silverman. He's actually a really nice guy. Seth Andrews, of course. Matt. David Smalley. Talissa Smalley, you're awesome. Jessica Wood. Elliot Watts. I also got Eric's signature. He wrote me a note in a Bible verse, which, that's fine. It's 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. I'll have to go look that up later. I know he told me what it was, but I've forgotten. The Dogma debate afterward was interesting, too, because there was something that everybody in the audience was like, how can you not see the contradiction here, Si? Basically, what he said was that we have free will, but we are also 100% predestined to do things.
Yeah, that's a pretty big contradiction.
He doesn't see it.
Well, I don't know.
He actually gave David this, like, dumbfounded look. Like, this is not a contradiction. How can you not see this is not a contradiction? And yet everybody else is like, dude, this doesn't work together. If you're free to do whatever you want, you can't be predestined to do something. Because if it's already stated that you are going to do this, then you didn't have the free will to do it. It's pretty damn simple.
I didn't stay up for live Dogma debate show, so
still though,
I don't have anything to say about it.
Still though, that particular point in and of itself,
that's kind of weird.
Okay.
But it's the kind of thing that I expect from somebody that closes their mind off to things.
Yeah.
That's about all I got to say about that.
What about the hotel itself?
The hotel?
Yeah. Hotel I thought was nice.
Yeah, the hotel was great.
Yeah.
They ended up putting us in a swanky room because we're on our anniversary trip, but
that's the only thing I can figure out. Which ended up kind of interesting because now I have yet another Gideon Bible, and a Book of Mormon. I'm actually pretty excited about that. Now all I need is a Quran, and I'll have, like, the 3 major things.
You can determine for yourself whether stealing the Bibles and the other books from the hotel room is bad or not.
I'm going to hell for that, aren't I?
We're already going to hell. If it exists.
If it exists, Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins, Matt Dillahunty,
all the
cool people are going to be there. So, that, or as somebody else said, for all the atheists, hell is going to be what everybody else considers heaven.
Mm.
So we're going to have to sit around and listen to God.
Yeah. The only other thing to say about the hotel room is that you don't charge for internet.
Yeah,
Get the
seriously.
fuck off that.
I mean, I can understand charging for little incidentals and whatnot, and the little in-room bars and whatnot. But seriously, $10 for internet for a day? Also, $5 for a beer. What the hell?
I don't know. That sounds kind of standard price to me. I don't know.
Not for beer.
For
a mixed drink. The mixed drinks were freaking anywhere from $8 to $10.
Let's see.
Cheapest glass of wine they had was $15. I'm sorry, that was cheapest bottle of wine.
I don't frequent bars often, which is probably obvious from me thinking that $5 for a beer is okay.
If I could edit out the cat mewing, I would. But
You may not hear.
I don't know. She's pretty chatty right now. If you've happened to find me through the debate, let me know.
I know. She has very interesting points to make.
Yes.
I